That is where the problem comes in. Have whatever reality you want. Think you're Santa Claus. Great. Run with it. Don't pick up a gun to get your kids to believe it. Don't pick up a gun to get your neighbors to believe it. And don't pick up a gun to get your neighbors to pay for your delusion. Take your delusion, take your delusion and run with it. Just keep the core. Because even though we may not believe we're citizens, if you don't act as if you're a citizen, you run the risk of being murdered.
Right.
You could take any situation. If you decide, I don't accept you as my governor, or I don't accept you as an authority because I have no agreement with you, and I'm not going to listen to you, and no, I'm not going to stop driving my car peacefully down the street. Well, we all know if we're driving peacefully down the street, or traveling, however you want to say it, and you're not endangering anybody, but you don't have that tax ID number on the back of your car, which is the license plate, you will get a cop eventually, a police officer, who will get behind you, and he will throw his emergency lights. There's no emergency, of course.
Yeah.
There's never an emergency, but he has to check things out. You don't have the tax ID number. Now, the officer doesn't know that's a tax ID, that you've paid your tax. All he knows is, I was told you don't have a plate, you got to have a plate, I got to stop this person. And what if you choose, no, I'm not gonna stop. I don't accept your reality. You don't have to accept mine. It's fine. I'm not taking a gun to your head and making you accept my reality. But this police officer, his reality is now going to become yours.
Yes.
And we've seen enough shows, cops, we've seen enough shows that if you don't stop that car, what are they going to do? And I'm not saying you're speeding. You're not endangering anybody. What is the police officer going to do? More than likely, he's going to call backup.
Start roadblocks and start all kinds of things.
Right, and he's probably going to do that ram maneuver where they hit your car. What is he going to do from that point? Is he going to walk up to your car? Hi, notice you didn't have a license plate. You didn't stop when I put the lights on. Everything okay? No. The gun has already come off. It's pointed directly at your head, and he's screaming at you to get out of the car. Now, who is the one who's the threat to somebody's safety in this point? Is the man who's just traveling, minding his own business and keeping to his own reality, or is it the police officer who's trying to get you to join his reality? However, I have been successful in impeaching every single cop. And this is not an attack on cops, they're not taught these things. And initially, I would ask questions, not just on a tax issue, I would also ask, is it your testimony that I was within the state on this day? Oh, yeah. Or would there be a case, or would there be jurisdiction or a crime if I was not within the state on this particular day? Oh, no, not at all. So you're confident I was within the state on this day? Yes. Okay, is that an arbitrary opinion? No. So it's based on facts within your knowledge? Oh, yeah. And they're currently within your knowledge? Oh, yes. So, and then I would just say, well, factually, what is the state? And
now they go blank on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
A lot of them will admit it. I have no idea. Most of the time, the judge and the prosecutor, who are really both,
right up.
they're jumping up. They got to protect their client. They both actually represent this police officer. So they jump up, and it's the same stupid, rehearsed objection I've heard so many times. Objection calls for a legal conclusion. The witness can't testify. Thank you. You just finished my job. You just impeached your own witness. Because what does the ticket consist of? He made a legal opinion. You broke the law. He's already admitted and given legal opinions.
Yeah.
And like I write in the book, when the officer first gets on the stand, he'll go through his testimony and he will give legal opinions. And I will, just to set him up, objection, calls for a legal conclusion, the witness can't testify. Now what does the judge do? Well, he's got to have the cop testify. Didn't, overruled. Okay, and you're right, he's letting the cop give legal opinions, not a problem. Now I know when I get to my turn to cross-examine him, I will purposely get him into this corner.
Use the same thing.
And I will bring, and so the prosecutor, this lawyer who pretends to represent the state, he will jump up right on cue, as they always do. Objection, calls for a legal conclusion. The witness is not competent to testify. Now, I understand that, you know, this has a tendency to really aggravate the cop, and what good reason? This prosecutor is his lawyer. How dare he come into court and say he's not competent?
He's not competent, yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't want him to tell the truth, would you?
Oh, of course. Well, they don't. Yeah, they don't want the officer to say, I don't know. I don't know. Now, people have said to me, well, can't the officer just say it's the ground? Sure he can. Now he's got to tell me, because I'm entitled to be informed. I'm entitled to confront my accuser and demand the nature and cause of the charges and proceedings. Now he has to tell me who the prosecutor represents.
Okay.
Big problem if he's representing the ground. I don't have to explain to people that that's ridiculous.
Yeah, what's the difference between the ground and the state of Arizona?
And I have had several judges in Mesa tell me, and of course they're testifying on behalf of the police officer at this point. Well, Mark, the state is an act of Congress that was passed in 1910 and created the state of Arizona. But he's not testifying. He saw me within an act of Congress. You can see just how ridiculous the whole situation is. And if it's the ground, then, excuse me, are you telling me that there was a state of Arizona prior to 1909?
Okay.
And now we got a problem because that, when was that 48th star added? Oh, that's right. The 48th star was added to your flag in 1912.
Yeah.
Because there was no state of Arizona prior to that, prior to January 1912. It just wasn't there. So it's not the ground. It is absolutely, positively not the ground. It couldn't be the ground.
That's right.
Because the prosecutor is not representing a geographical area.
Of course, putting it to him that way, then you will destroy his testimony.
Well, absolutely. That's why they will. That's why the more astute prosecutors will not allow the officer to even attempt to answer the question because they know it's just too deep a hole. But what I started doing is, I don't want it to look like I'm attacking police officers and trying to get them declared incompetent. Because I never say that they're incompetent. I want them to testify. It's their lawyers and the judges trying to protect their little case. So I'd say, well, why don't I, they don't, I figured they're just not learning this stuff. They're not learning it in the police academy. It's just not something you do in a traffic case. So what I started doing, I said, well, look, I'm not gonna do it this way. I don't want to go to trial. Why waste time going to trial? So I started right at the arraignment. I want to plead guilty. I want to get it over with. So one of the questions I would put to the prosecutor. Instead of the police officer, I'll put it to the prosecutor. He's the one claiming to represent the state. So what I started doing was a standard legal challenge. In civil rules, it's Rule 9A. It's the same in the federal. And I would ask a simple question. Again, not saying that there's no state. Don't want to come off as combative. You're not argumentative. You're not taking a position. I would say, is there evidence of a complaining party here? And this is the typical response from a lawyer pretending to represent the state.
Oh, yeah.
He's
got to come up with something really fast.
Right. This is his job. This is his job. See, when he does that, that's a cue to his fellow lawyer with the robe. You got to help me here. So we had a case in Maine where this happened. And he turned beet red, the prosecutor, and that's what he's doing, and shuffling his papers furiously, and the judge jumps in. Well, sir, that's easy. It's the state of Maine. And the defendant says, objection, move to strike. I believe that's non-responsive. I wanted a yes or no. And two, Rule 605 of the Rules of Evidence doesn't permit you to testify on behalf of a prosecutor. Well, the judge wasn't happy at all with this. Not happy at all.
Yeah, you don't want to be challenged.
No. And he just made this judge look kind of ridiculous. Stupid. So what happened was, and this is a criminal case, they bound him, the judge was furious. Bound the guy, hey, you're going to trial. You're not pulling this in my court. You're going to trial. All right. So file a motion to dismiss for a failure to prosecute. Look, we have one question. One question, or just give me a yes or no. is there evidence of a complaining party? I mean, your burden of proof is beyond a reasonable